I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to catch his wife cheating, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with Lisa for about 8 years now. We met in college, had our fair share of ups and downs, but I always thought we had something solid. She was the kind of woman who acted like she knew everything. A little bitchy sometimes, yeah, but charming enough to keep me hooked. I did everything I could to make her happy, working late, helping with her projects, fixing up the house, even spending weekends at the senior center volunteering trying to be a good guy. Things started feeling off a few months ago, though. Lisa got strange, more irritable, snapping at me over the smallest things. She'd come home late from work and I'd ask where she'd been, and she'd brush me off with some excuse about stress or meeting with clients. I didn't think much of it at first. I figured maybe she was just tired or had some work stuff piling up. But then the little things started to add up. Her phone always face down, hiding her screen when I'd walk into the room, and her lying about where she was going. I wouldn't say I was paranoid, but I knew something was wrong. I decided to give her some space, hoping she'd come clean or that the truth would come out on its own. But I also kept my eyes open. I'd catch her sneaking around, or at least I thought I was, though I didn't have concrete proof yet. Still, I felt that nagging feeling deep in my gut that something wasn't right. The worst part, I kept telling myself I was imagining things, that I was overreacting, because I didn't want to face the fact that I might be losing her. Then one day, I volunteered at the senior center as I did every Thursday. I was helping organize some flower pots, and I decided to come home a little early that day. I figured I'd surprise Lisa, maybe take her out to dinner or just see how she was doing. When I pulled into the driveway and opened the door, I didn't expect what I saw. My heart sank. There was her car in the driveway, but I could hear voices, the unmistakable sound of someone laughing and talking. I thought maybe she had a friend over, but then I went inside and heard something else. There they were, Lisa and our neighbor, Earl. Earl's this old guy I'd been helping with yard work for months, cutting his grass, trimming his hedges, you name it. I'd been doing that out of kindness, honestly. Earl was lonely, and I didn't mind because it felt good to help someone who needed it. But that day, I saw them together on the couch, looking way too cozy. Earl was half lying, half sitting next to her, and Lisa was leaning into him, whispering, laughing. They looked like they were about to start something. They definitely weren't just talking about his lawn. I froze, watching from the doorway, my stomach twisted. I couldn't believe it. My wife, the woman I'd trusted, was cheating on me with Earl of all people. My mind raced, trying to process what I'd just seen. She looked so comfortable, so close to him, like she didn't care if I saw. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My first instinct was rage, pure, boiling rage. Then came the devastation. How could she do this? After everything I'd done for her, helped her with her projects, made her feel special, and she was out there screwing around with Earl of all people. I didn't storm in right away. Instead, I stood there and watched for a minute, gathering myself. My hands were trembling and my vision blurred with a mixture of anger and heartbreak. I wanted to confront her immediately, to demand answers, but I knew I needed to think. I needed a plan. That was the moment I realized my marriage was over, at least the trust part. And that change, that betrayal, was going to haunt me for a long time. I took a deep breath and turned around quietly, trying to keep my composure. I didn't want her to know I'd caught her in the act just yet. I stepped outside for a minute, pretending to gather some air, but my mind was racing. I was furious, hurt, and utterly disgusted. How could she be so fucking careless? She always acted like she was the one in control, like she was the queen of everything. And Earl's this old, grumpy guy who always looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. And there she was, cozying up to him like they were in some romantic comedy. I knew I had to confront her, but I also knew I had to do it carefully. I didn't want her to deny it or spin some bullshit story. Instead, I decided to go back inside and catch her in the act again, maybe get her to confess. I figured I'd catch her off guard, get her to slip up. That night I waited until she came home, acting normal, even pretending I didn't see anything. She strolled in, acting like nothing was wrong, but I could see the guilt behind her eyes. I decided to confront her then and there. "Lisa," I said calmly, but my voice was cold. "We need to talk." She looked at me, her lips curling into that bitchy smirk she always used when she thought she was in control. What's there to talk about, Mike? I was just working late, like always. She brushed past me, trying to dismiss the tension, but I wasn't having it. I blocked her path and looked her straight in the eyes. You know damn well I saw you with Earl today, I said, voice low but steady. Her eyes widened. For a split second, then she recovered with that snarky attitude. Oh, that was nothing, Mike. You're imagining things. Earl's just an old man who needs help. I was helping him with his yard, like I said. I shook my head, feeling the rage boil inside me. Stop pretending, Lisa. I saw you. I saw you sitting on that couch with him, whispering, touching. Don't lie to me. I helped Earl because I thought he was lonely, not because I wanted to watch you cheat on me. She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. Oh, please, you're overreacting. Earl's harmless. You're just jealous because I spend more time helping others than you do paying attention to me. Maybe you're the one who's been ignoring me. That was her typical bullshit, blaming me for everything, painting herself as the victim. I couldn't take it anymore. You've been lying for months, haven't you? Running around with Earl, sneaking around behind my back. Well, I've had enough. I want the truth now. Are you fucking Earl or not? She looked at me, dead in the eyes, and for a second I thought she'd deny it again. But then her face twisted and she spat out, yeah, I am. I've been doing him for months. It's none of your damn business anyway. You're too busy with your stupid volunteer work to notice I was miserable here, so I found someone who appreciates me for once. That cut deep. My mind was spinning. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut all over again. How long had this been going on? Did she even care how much she was hurting me? I couldn't believe her. She had this bitchy smirk on her face, like she was proud of herself, like she was finally getting what she wanted. And Earl, that greasy old bastard, probably thought he was winning some kind of lottery. I wanted to scream, to break something. But I stood there, stunned, trying to process everything. I realized she never cared about our vows, about honesty, about anything except herself. She just lied through her teeth, pretending to be the victim when she was the one betraying me. And Earl knew damn well what he was doing, taking advantage of her vulnerability, and she let him. That night I felt empty. All that rage boiled over into heartbreak. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and stupid for thinking we had something real. All those nights I spent helping her, trying to make us better, and she was out there fucking Earl behind my back. The worst part, I still loved her, even now, even after everything. But love wasn't enough. Not this kind of love. Not when I was the fool. The next morning I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. The numbness from the night before was starting to wear off, replaced by a simmering anger and a deep sense of betrayal. I knew I had to decide what to do next, but my mind was a blur. Do I confront her again? Do I pack my bags and leave? Do I try to fix this? Honestly, I didn't even know who I was anymore. All I knew was that I couldn't keep pretending I didn't see what she was doing. I stayed in the house for a while, pretending to go about my day, but inside I was planning my move. I decided I needed proof, something concrete I could use if I decided to confront her again, or if I wanted to take this to the next level. I remembered the little hidden camera I'd bought a few months ago, just in case. It was supposed to be for security, but at that moment it was my only chance to catch her in the act again on my terms. I set up the camera in the living room, pointing at the couch where I saw them the day before. I didn't want to scare her, but I needed to catch her off guard. I left it rolling, went to work on some chores, and kept my phone close. The hours felt like an eternity. Every sound outside made me jump. Was she coming home early? Was Earl trying to sneak by? My stomach was a knot of anxiety. When I finally checked the footage that evening, I couldn't believe what I saw. There she was, Lisa, on that same couch with Earl. Only this time she was actively making out with him. Her hands were all over him, and I saw her pull her shirt up, exposing her tits. My blood ran cold. I felt like I'd been punched again, only this time I had the proof I needed. The footage was crystal clear, no denying it. She was cheating on me, and she didn't care who saw. That moment everything changed. I felt a mixture of relief and rage. Relief because I finally had proof, and rage because I was the fool for trusting her all these years. How could I have been so blind? I'd helped her with her yard, paid for her little trips, made her feel loved. while she was sneaking off to fuck Earl. It was too much to take in all at once. I watched the footage over and over, trying to process the depth of her betrayal. I knew I couldn't keep living like this. I had to confront her again, but this time with the evidence. I decided I'd come home that night and lay it all out, show her I wasn't some naive idiot anymore. I wanted her to see that I knew everything, that I had the proof of her lies, her cheating, her betrayal. I was sick of her bullshit, her lies, her attitude. She thought she could get away with it, that she could manipulate me like she always did, but I was done. Done pretending she was innocent, done pretending I didn't see the truth. As I prepared myself for that confrontation, I couldn't help but think about how everything had unraveled so quickly. One moment, I was a happy husband, helping out a lonely neighbor, thinking I was doing a good deed. The next, I was staring at footage of my wife, in bed with our neighbor, completely betraying me behind my back. It felt like my entire world had shifted off its axis. I'd always been the guy who tried to help, who believed in doing good, but it turned out the people I trusted the most were the ones who could hurt me the deepest. And Earl was just another piece of the puzzle, another guy who took advantage of her weakness. I sat on the couch, phone in hand, watching that footage again, feeling the weight of what I'd discovered. It was a lot to take in, but I knew one thing for sure. Things had to change. I couldn't live in this lie anymore. Not with her, not with Earl, and not with myself. Whatever I decided, it was going to be painful, but I couldn't keep pretending this wasn't happening. I was tired of being the fool, and I was ready to face whatever came next. That night I decided I couldn't hold back anymore. I had enough evidence, enough pain, enough betrayal. I waited until Lisa got home, trying to keep my nerves in check. When she finally walked through the door, she looked at me with that same bitchy smirk, expecting me to just brush it off or apologize for catching her in a misunderstanding. But I wasn't going to let her do that. Not anymore. I pulled out my phone, pressing play on the footage I had saved. I aimed it at her, eyes cold and steady. "Lisa," I said, voice trembling with a mix of anger and hurt, "I saw you. I saw you and Earl making out, fucking around. You lied to me for months. How could you do this? How could you sit there and act like it's nothing while you're out there cheating with our neighbor?" Her face went pale for a second, then she snapped back with her usual snark. "Oh, come on, Mike. It's not what you think. Earl's just an old friend. We're just having fun. It's not a big deal." She scoffed, crossing her arms, like she was the one in control. "You've been so busy with your stupid volunteer work, I didn't think you'd even notice. And honestly, I didn't think you cared enough to notice I was miserable." I clenched my fists. "Miserable? You're damn right I care. I've been helping you, trying to make this marriage work, and meanwhile you're out there having sex with Earl, lying to my face every single day. You think I don't see the way you look at him, or how you act like you're better than me? Well, I've had enough. I'm done being your fool." She rolled her eyes. "You're overreacting, Mike. Just because I have a little fun doesn't mean I love Earl or that I don't love you. It's just sex. It doesn't mean anything." That made me laugh bitterly. "No, Lisa, it means everything to me. It means you lied to my face, cheated with our neighbor, and thought you could get away with it. Well, I've got news for you. I'm done. Done pretending I don't know, done pretending I don't care. I want you gone, and I want Earl out of our lives. I want a clean break from all this bullshit." Her face twisted into some kind of angry sneer. "Fine. If that's how you feel, then go ahead. Leave. I don't need you or your stupid feelings. You're just too blind to see what's really going on. Earl and we're just having a little fun. It's not like we're running away together. Chill out, Mike. You're overreacting because you're insecure. That's all it is." I felt my stomach turn. The arrogance, the lies, her refusal to face reality, it all made my blood boil. How could she be so fucking selfish? How could she think lying and cheating was just having fun? I looked at her, realizing that I wasn't going to get through to her. She was so stubborn, so full of herself that she believed her own bullshit. And Earl, I knew he'd been lying to himself, thinking he was somehow justified because he was lonely. I told her to pack her things and leave. I didn't want her in my house anymore. She tried to argue, to spin some more stories, but I cut her off. I said I didn't want to hear it. I was done listening to her lies. I knew I had to get out of that house, away from her, to clear my head. I didn't care what she said or did after that point. The damage was done. I was finally free from the illusion, even if it hurt like hell. In the days that followed, I felt numb. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her with Earl, saw her smirking at me like I was the fool. I kept replaying everything, the lies, the betrayal, the way I'd helped her, only to be betrayed in the worst way possible. I felt like I'd lost my sense of trust in everyone, even myself. How could I have been so blind? I realized I'd been putting her on a pedestal, thinking I was doing the right thing by trying to make her happy. But she didn't deserve that. She was selfish, manipulative, and dishonest. Earl was just another piece of the puzzle, someone who took advantage of her and her weak spot. I'd helped her, loved her, believed in us, and she threw it all away for some cheap sex with our neighbor. I decided I had to get out of that house for good to start healing. I contacted a lawyer, made arrangements to split everything, and told her I wanted a clean break. I knew it wouldn't be easy. It never is. Still, I felt some kind of relief, knowing I finally saw the truth clearly. No more secrets, no more lies, just me, just my dignity. Looking back, I realize I learned some hard lessons. Trust is fragile and betrayal cuts deep. But I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I'll never let anyone, especially a betrayer, take that away from me again. And as much as it hurts, I know I'll get through this. I'll rebuild and I'll find happiness someday, even if it takes time. Because at the end of the day, I deserve better than a woman who cheats with our neighbor and lies like it's nothing. The days after I kicked Lisa out felt like walking through a fog. I was hurting, yes, but there was also this strange sense of relief. Like I finally woke up from a nightmare I'd been living in for too long. Still, the pain was real. Every little thing reminded me of what I'd lost, her voice, her attitude, the way she used to look at me like I mattered. Now I just saw a woman I could no longer trust, even if part of me still loved her, which was the hardest part to admit. I threw myself into fixing my life in small ways. I started going back to the senior center, not just to volunteer but to reconnect with some of the friends I'd made there. Honestly, I wasn't sure how I was going to move forward, but I knew I had to do something. The house felt emptier than ever without her. And Earl, I avoided him completely after finding out what he'd been doing. I didn't want to give him any power over me, nor did I want to stew in more anger than I already did. One day, I finally confronted my feelings head-on. I sat down at my kitchen table, took out a notebook, and started writing. I listed everything, what I felt, what I learned, what I wanted to do next. It was a messy list, full of rage, sadness, hope, and everything in between. I realized that I wasn't just angry about her cheating. I was angry at myself for trusting her so blindly, for ignoring the signs, for staying so long when I knew deep down she was slipping away. The truth hit me hard. I had to stop blaming her entirely and start taking responsibility for my part. I decided I wasn't going to rush into anything reckless. I needed to heal, to rediscover who I was outside of that messed up marriage. I got rid of most of the stuff that reminded me of her, clothes, photos, even some joint accounts I'd kept open out of habit. It was painful, but I knew it was necessary. I also started seeing a therapist just to talk through all the emotions I'd buried. Those sessions helped a lot. I learned that betrayal like this isn't just about her. It's about learning to trust myself again, rebuilding my sense of stability. I also started dating again slowly. Nothing serious yet, just some casual dates with women I met online or through friends. It was strange at first, the idea of opening myself up again after all this damage. But I knew I couldn't stay stuck in the past. I deserved happiness, even if that meant taking chances I was scared of. Every date was a little step forward, even if I still felt pangs of anger and betrayal deep inside. Looking back, I realize I'm stronger than I thought I was. I survived the worst betrayal I've ever known, and I'm still standing. I learned that forgiving isn't about forgetting or excusing what she did. It's about letting go of the anger that keeps you chained. I don't hate her, at least, not in the way I used to. I just accept that some people aren't meant to be in your life forever, and that's okay. It's a hard lesson, but it's one I had to learn. Now I focus on myself, on rebuilding what I lost, on finding peace. The whole experience has changed me, no doubt. I've grown tougher, more cautious, but also more aware of what I want and what I won't tolerate anymore. I know there will be days when the pain hits hard again, but I also know I'll get through it. I have to. because I refuse to live in a world where I'm constantly betrayed and lied to. I want better. I deserve better. And someday, I believe I'll find it. Now, sitting here reflecting on everything, I realize that betrayal like this leaves a scar, one that doesn't fully heal, but which you learn to carry differently over time. I've come to accept that I was blind for too long, that I gave too much of myself and trusted in the wrong people. But I also see that I had the strength to face the truth, no matter how ugly it was. That's something I didn't believe I had in me before all this happened. The hardest lesson I learned is that sometimes love isn't enough to hold a marriage together, especially if honesty and respect aren't there from the start. Lisa's actions showed me that she didn't value what we had, and Earl's involvement proved he was just as selfish. I kept asking myself what I could have done differently, but the truth is, I did everything I could. It wasn't enough for her or for Earl. That's on them, not me. I've grown more cautious about who I let into my life now. Trust isn't something I give lightly anymore. I've learned that if something feels off, I need to listen to that gut instinct. I've also started to see the importance of self-love and forgiveness, not just forgiving her, but forgiving myself for not seeing the signs earlier. It's a slow process, and some days are tougher than others, but I know I'm moving forward. The house still feels empty without her, but I've started making it mine again, filling it with new routines, new hobbies, and reconnecting with friends I'd pushed aside. I'm learning to be alone without feeling lonely. I've realized that the only person I truly need is myself, and that I can rebuild a life that's better, stronger, and more honest. Looking back, I wouldn't wish this pain on anyone, but I do believe I've come out the other side more resilient. It's a bitter, painful lesson, but one that has pushed me to grow in ways I never expected. I know I'll carry some scars forever, but I also know that scars are reminders that we've survived, that we've endured, and that we're capable of healing. So, to anyone out there dealing with betrayal, whether it's a partner, a friend, or someone you trusted, know that healing is possible. It's messy and painful, but it's also necessary. Don't rush it. Take your time. Lean on the people who support you. And most importantly, never forget your worth, because even after the worst, you're still standing. You're still alive. And that's enough to start over.